name is Prerna and I have a home business called Prerna's Cakes since the past 15 years. I have learned a lot on my own and I have made some lovely cakes. I have developed my own recipes, and over the years people have asked me to share my recipes and share some of the stuff I know. So here's my first YouTube video, and I want to share with you the very first thing I learned, which is the victoriasponge cake. Now before we learn how to bake, I want to introduce some of the basic ingredients that you will need and some of the equipment you will need. So here we have sugar, we have flour, we have shortening and a spatula, we have measuring cups, this is a must, and measuring spoons, this is also a must, baking powder, vanilla extract, eggs, and of course butter. And in our equipment we have an 8-inch baking tin, we have a sieve, and this is one of the most important things you'll need. It's a digital kitchen scale. You could have a digital kitchen scale, or you could have one of the more common manual kitchen scales. Those work just as well, but in that you're not able to measure small measurements like 5 grams or 10 grams, but they work just as well. That's what I started out with, and this is something I've moved on to. And of course you will need a good blender. This is a KitchenAid. You could also use one of the hand blenders initially. Now I mentioned that we are learning a Victoria sponge cake. This is a butter cake. It's one of the earliest recipes. It's very easy to make. It's very uncomplicated. It usually never goes wrong. So once you start with this, you will feel confident about going on to the next stage, because it's really tasty, it's really moist, and it's, like I said, very easy to make. So now we start with measurements. You place your empty container, and we are going to take 200 grams of flour, Okay, if you're using cups, 1 cup is approximately 130 grams of flour. In that you put 2 teaspoons of baking powder, sift it twice, and once more. You put that aside. So now we measure the sugar. 200 grams of sugar, that's about 1 cup of sugar. So 1 cup of sugar is 200 grams and 1 cup of flour is 130 grams. This will help on the rainy day when your scale isn't available. Okay, so we have our flour, we have our sugar, and now we can get our eggs. Now each egg is roughly 55 ml. So in a 200 gram recipe, we need 4 eggs. That's 220 ml. I like to measure this way because sometimes the eggs are big, sometimes the eggs are small. So it's good to know that it's 220 ml. So for that you need a measuring cup like this. It's 150 ml. Perfect. Once we are done with the measurements, we prepare our tin. This is some shortening, vegetable shortening. You could use butter, you could use margarine. You could also line it with grease-proof paper. Personally, I prefer this. Coat it uniformly, not too much, and make sure all the corners are filled in with the shortening. Line it with shortening, and then you take a little flour, spread it around uniformly. It will stick to your shortening. Excess, just throw it out. That's it. This is how it looks. It's all uniformly covered. This will ensure that your cake does not stick to the pan. And now we preheat the oven to 325 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 180 degrees Celsius. So now we start the best part. We mix the cake. This is 200 grams of unsalted butter. You could use a good brand. It should have a good flavor, and it's at room temperature. When the butter is soft and creamy, that should take about 3 to 4 minutes. Then you sugar, and you cream the butter and the sugar for another 5 to 10 minutes. And butter is ready. It's nice and pale, creamy. Now we alternate the eggs and the flour. First the eggs. And the flour. clear it up on the sides. Just to make sure everything's mixed in. Now we add 2 teaspoons of vanilla essence. And 2 tablespoons of full cream milk. And we give it another whisk. Mix it up to make sure it's all uniformly mixed and there's nothing stuck at the bottom of the bowl. And there. It should be of a dropping consistency. Yeah. And it's ready to be popped in the oven. It's baked in. It should fill your tin about a half to 3/4, not too much or it will just fall out. Just between half of the tin and 3/4 of it. So the 200-gram flour recipe is just perfect for the 8-inch pan. This is a Wilton pan which is 3 inches high and 8 inches in diameter. And our oven is already preheated. So give it a little thump. Separate over. And we pop it in the oven. So we've kept the cake in the oven and it will take about 40 to 50 minutes to bake.